So what you just saw there was our family enjoying the birthday cake that I made for our daughter's 3rd birthday. This year for her birthday, I wanted to make a cake that was with no sugar, no dairy, and no gluten. I recently came across the work of Dr. Robert Lustig, and I always kind of knew that sugar was bad. I've always been interested in health and diet, the role that diet plays in healthy living. So I always kind of knew that sugar was bad, but I didn't know exactly what it does to your body when you eat it. So highly recommend Dr. Robert Lustig. You can look him up. I will put some links in the description box below the video to some of the videos and the presentations that he's done. Highly, highly recommend. Excellent, excellent. Anyways, his whole shtick is that sugar is poison. Poison is a matter of dose anyways, right? Like you can eat sugar for a long time before anything will necessarily happen to you, but it is very bad. It is very bad for you. And if that's news for you, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but yes, sugar is very bad. It is, well, you should just not be eating it. So I came up with this recipe and, hi, you want to say hi? She wants to go out to the pool. Yeah, I know, we're gonna go. I'm gonna take you to the pool. She's already got her bathing suit on. So, it was an experiment and it turned out very well. If you try the recipe, please let me know in the comments below what you thought of it, how it turned out for you, and I would just love to hear your feedback on that. So,
Pink cake.
a pink cake?
Yeah.
You want a pink cake for your birthday?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So as you can see from this overview of the ingredients, there is a few unusual ingredients that I'm going to be using to make this cake today. The first is a granulated sweetener. It is 0 carb. It is made from erythritol and monk fruit extract. I get this one from Costco. It is 907 grams and it is OU certified. The next ingredient is almond flour. I always buy the Kirkland Signature brand. This is from Costco and it is KORC certified and it's just a really good one. I always buy this one. The other flour that I'm going to be using to make this cake is coconut flour. I bought this bag at the local grocery store and I believe it was on sale for $5.99 when I bought it. It is about a pound. And you can see this one is MK certified. As for the gelatin, I buy this canister from Amazon. It is the Great Lakes brand. It is certified kosher, although the hexture on it is very tiny and my camera is actually not picking it up. So here's just an image from the website and you can see the hexture there. As an alternative, you can also use fish gelatin, as I know that's pretty widely available as well. The final, more unusual ingredient that I'm going to be using is this xanthan gum. This is the Bob's Red Mill brand, and I just find it easier to store it in a container in the freezer. This is an ingredient that is probably familiar to a lot of keto bakers, as it helps to replace gluten when you're doing baking with gluten-free flours. I'm starting off with making the frosting first, and I took inspiration from the ermine frosting recipe that I already have a video up on my channel about that, but it's a very interesting frosting recipe where you make a roux, and normally it's made with flour, but in this case I want it to be gluten-free, so that is why I am substituting the xanthan gum and gelatin. And then I will cook it together with coconut milk until it's thickened, and then let it cool. And after it's cool, then you beat it together with, I'm using a butter alternative, but you can also use butter if you don't care to have it dairy, but I do want it dairy free this time, so I'm using a butter alternative. If you do use a butter alternative, you just want to make sure that you're using the block style and not the whipped style that comes in a tub. While my roux is chilling in the fridge, I'm going to get started on making the cake layers. As always, I like to whip my egg whites first, and then I don't have to wash the beaters in between. I can just set them aside and use them for mixing up the cake batter afterwards. Unfortunately, you can see that I was not organized enough to get this made while my kids were napping or after they'd gone to bed, so there was lots of little fingers and eager taste testers waiting in the wings. After I got the egg whites whipped, I just set them aside along with the beaters and started mixing up the rest of the ingredients for the cake batter. The almond milk that I'm using is straight out of the refrigerator, and I think for next time I might heat it up because as you can see, as soon as I added it, it caused it to solidify. So this is what you see me doing here. I just put a pan underneath the bowl with some boiling water, and that helped to soften the coconut oil so I could mix everything together. And once I've got the liquid ingredients all mixed together, I am adding in the dry ingredients, the almond flour, the coconut flour, and the baking powder and soda.
Take me on a treasure hunt.
After I've got the dry ingredients in the bowl, I am giving it a good mix by hand, and I am adding in a little bit more almond flour just because it was the first time I had made this and I wasn't sure how much flour I would need, so I added in a little bit extra. But if you follow the recipe as I've written it out, then you shouldn't need to have to do this. Now I'm going to add in the whipped egg whites. The reason I decided to use only egg whites in this recipe was purely aesthetic. I wanted the cake to be white, but if you don't care to have the slight yellow tint from the yolks, then you can totally go ahead and use the yolks in the batter. And now I'm preparing to bake the cake layers. I'm using a 6-inch springform pan, and I'm lining the bottom with parchment paper. The way that I like to do this is take a piece of parchment paper, fold it in half repeatedly, and then measure it on the pan. The point goes in the center, and then you can cut it to size. The other way you can do it is lay it over the bottom and then close your sides around it and then trim the edges. That's definitely another way you can do it, but this is just the way that I learned and how I like to do it. So after I've got that cut to size, I just lay it in the pan, and I don't weigh the batter. I just kind of eyeball it, and I'm putting in half for a 2-layer cake.
I know I don't yet know it, so I trust you when you say that beauty lives in me too. Later, it comes later, dear, for many of us. I promise you that we learn through the wrongs, and even the rough can be sweet.
Wait, it's not done yet. It's not done yet. It's not done yet. You gotta wait. I'm gonna put the frosting on. You want cake with frosting, right?
Pink, Mommy.
You want pancake?
Yeah.
No, pink cake.
Pink cake.
To finish making the frosting, I'm going to be whipping 1 cup of butter alternative with the roux that has been chilling in the fridge. And this is the butter alternative that I'm using. It's from Melt Organics.
Close your eyes and know.
So here you can see this is like completely solid. Almost. It's like not really moving that much. I did make a small mistake here because I was supposed to whip the butter alternative first and then add in the roux a spoonful at a time, but instead I just dumped everything in the bowl all together and whipped it up with the mixer. It didn't seem to affect the final product though. It turned out really well. It was light, fluffy, sweet. As you can see, my kids were just all over it. They were trying to get their fingers in there and just lick it and scoop it off. But we had a good time together anyways. Aviva kept trying to take the bowl from me. She just wanted to eat it straight out of the bowl.
I want the bowl of it.
You can't eat a bowl of frosting. I need to put it on the cake.
You can have that.
Here I'm using my handy dandy bench scraper to smooth the sides. I don't have a spatula, so I'm just using this instead. And then I'm putting the whole thing in the freezer for about 15 minutes, just so it'll be easier to put the second layer of frosting on. For the pink piping around the edges of the cake, I just tinted some of the frosting with a bit of red and blue food coloring. A few sprinkles on the top, and voila, this cake is done. Don't look too closely at my lopsided 3. I know it's crooked, but hey, my kids did not complain.
Birthday to you. Now you have to put it in the middle, wherever it's stuck.
Just relight it,
Bro.
Leo. Just relight it. Stick it back in the...